Shut down now, don't walk out the door. The 8-bit heroes stand alone, waiting for the signal to be known. Whoa, Glenn's Retro Show where the static dies. Whoa, when the Friday night sky lights up twice. Friday at 8 p.m. the channel flips. Glenn's Retro Show where the pixels slip. Subscribe now before the credits roll. Battlestar fights while the powerful last starfighter takes the lead. Over the static sea we need to find the signal clear and true. Glenn's Retro Show for the old and new. Let's start again on the one-out track. Glenn's Retro Show is the only bag. Join us Friday, 8 o'clock. Don't let the signals go. Glenn's Retro Show.
It's time to kick it old school.
Well, let's see here. Do we have a microphone? Hopefully you guys can hear me. I guess you guys will let me know in the chat relatively quickly if my microphone is in fact working. Hopefully it is. Hopefully give me a 1 in the chat if we have audio. I'm just talking to myself. Mic is good. All right, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. All right, so let's go quick with the chat here. I know I've been on the past couple of weeks. Been busy with a lot of things and didn't have a lot to talk about, to be honest. And I was tired of just putting a show on to put a show on without any reason to have a show. So a couple of things to talk about tonight. Nothing crazy, but we'll talk a little. I saw someone, where was it here? Was Shampoo wanted to know some FU news. There is some news, and it's actually pretty good news. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But first, as always, let's go through the chat. It is Friday, and 8 o'clock is when we start our weekends. Hopefully, you guys had a decent week. This week wasn't too bad for me. It was not as hot as it's been, but I do thank God it is Friday, and I have my typical Friday margarita here. Not too bad. All right, let's see. We got JJ here. Seems like Sony, Microsoft, and the big N just can't usher in the return of gaming. Game crash fast enough. I've got a massive backlog of games and tons of everyday carts and old retro systems to keep me busy for years. JJ, that's the primary talk about tonight, and we'll definitely get into that. I agree with you on that. I'm trying to get my chair in a little bit better spot here. I feel like I'm too far away from my screen. Goofy Foot. Hello, Glenn. Made it to another Friday. We did, and I appreciate the heart. Yeah, we're actually, you know what? I just realized we're at episode 199. I've probably been well over 200. We missed a lot of episodes, but we're officially at episode 199, which means the next episode to do is episode 200. 200 episodes of Kicking It Old School. Wow. What am I going to do? I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Will it be next week? Again, I don't know. So I want to have something to talk about when I have the show versus just having a show, but we'll see. I'm still trying to figure some of this stuff out. John Fritz, good evening, everyone. WR712, look who's back. I am back, and I'm sorry I've been gone. I was gonna, I should probably post. I'm not gonna be on, but I don't know. In one of those, once in a while you get in those moods where you just like don't want to do nothing. Well, that's kind of where I guess I've been at. But I got a cool robot lawnmower now. I'm loving. If you haven't seen that video of my Segway Navrimo X430, and every single day it goes out and mows my lawn. It cuts it at the right height. It doesn't go off the track. It's pretty phenomenal. It's quite amazing how technology was like the first early of 2010, 2015. Wasn't too much stuff. But the last 5-10 years now, AI is the buzzword, obviously, with a lot of things online. But my robot vacuums, I have 2 robot vacuums on 2 floors of the house with LiDAR. And this lawnmower uses vision, and it can see things in its path, and it hasn't made a mistake yet. Now, I'm not saying it may never make a mistake, but right now I just took out of the box, plugged it in, mapped out the perimeter, and it's been doing a phenomenal job. And guess what? I don't need to go and cut the lawn. I I don't need to have agita or panic saying, oh my God, it's going to rain. I got to get home. I got to beat the rain and cut this lawn, or I haven't cut the lawn in 2 or 3 weeks and it's just going to be so long I have to rake it. Every day or night. It'll go out in the middle of the night, midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's totally quiet. Little headlights go on and it cuts the lawn. I mean, those are things of convenience that are, I think, pretty awesome when you don't have to go out. I mean, I admit I do like cutting the lawn. I did enjoy cutting the lawn when my lawnmower worked, but there's so many problems with the lawnmower. And this little guy does a great job. And I named him Chopper after Chopper from Rebels. But if you haven't seen that video, I did post it, and I'm going to post another video probably this weekend on it. It's really quite impressive with it coming now with some of this AI technology. We have Rich here. It's Friday. Yes, it is. Vet 1981. Happy Friday, Glenn, and to everyone out there. Glad to be back. Same here. I am glad to be back. I miss you guys, and I'm not doing the show. And my girlfriend can definitely tell you. I get sad I'm not here with you guys, but I had nothing to talk about. And I know I'm kind of regurgitating stuff that's been talked about already, but I feel like I got to say something about it because I see so many different opinions, and obviously mine's the right opinion, so I got to voice mine. Sean here's evening, fellas. RJ, what's up, y'all? And Kalel64, hello everyone. Kevin Clausen just stopped by to say hi, and I appreciate that, buddy. I really do. Keno Brown, greetings, programs. Absolutely. Gotta love Tron. In fact, Tron had its anniversary, I think it was yesterday. That Tron was released in 1982. And still can watch that original Tron again and again. Great movie. But, of course, it wasn't a great movie in the theaters. It didn't do too well, but it's a cult classic. Just like Tron Legacy became. And I still like the original Tron better than Tron Legacy. I know there's a lot of hate with Tron Ares. Again, I liked it for what it was. I still don't think it should have been called Tron Ares. Tron wasn't in it. It should have been called Ares in the World of Tron. Something along those lines. It's just, I don't like when they put titles in there that's like a lie. In any case, it wasn't a bad movie. Shane, the 431, volume is low. Hope it's not low now. The volume was showing proper on here before, so I'm not sure if that was maybe your end or mine. But hey, it's audio problems. So it's not AI and it's me. J-Rod, good evening, everyone. Hobby Hands, good evening, gents. Shampoo Sean, hoping for some FU news. We will talk some FU. We will do that. Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Hey, everyone. Hello, everyone. And, of course, Bill's going to want to know the FU news. He's got to get up here to take a look at it. So we'll get into that. Mike is good. Thanks, Kevin. Good audio. You can hear me. Yes, it actually is working. Oh, no, Hobby Hands. What a terrible work week. Everything broke. Oh, man. Sorry about that. It does happen. I mean, work is work. I mean, it pays the bills, but it's always good to have Friday. And if everyone's off next 2 days, I think it's supposed to be halfway decent weather. I need to go and tear down my old shed. It's a 14 by 12 shed that's more rot than shed. And I've got stuff in there that's been getting rained on for years. So I got to rip that down. I got a very cheapo metal shed off Amazon, $325 delivered. So it's got to be paper thin, almost probably tinfoil, but we'll see. But I did receive that, so I got to tear down the shed and put this one up and get everything in there. I'm trying to get back into life. I just repaved my shed. I seal coated the shed, the driveway, which is a 200-foot driveway. Did that. Got the robot lawnmower to keep up on the lawn. I got my solar panels routed into the house properly. My own panels, my power cords. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm finally getting some things done. Thankfully the house is paid off, which is good. I'm able to hopefully get some other things cleaned up around here. What do we got here? Jared, Jeff D. Hey, everyone. I think we may have gotten everyone here. We have Jeff D. Chopper, I like the name. My favorite droid. He originally was going to be called R2 because it was like a droid. And then when I started thinking about it, I mean, Chopper is a better name because it's Chopper. So it went from R2D2 to Chopper. I think that was the better name. I agree. And I like Chopper. I do. But R2, again, I grew up in 77, Star Wars. R2 will always be the ultimate droid for me. But Chopper is definitely up there with him. Tim York, Glenn's back. Friday night doesn't feel right. I know. I feel bad about that. I'm not sure it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks I was gone. I have no idea. Just didn't have anything really to discuss, and I just didn't want to have a show about nothing. But maybe I should. I don't know. I just took a little bit of a break, I guess. I did take that time to finally get the Apple II working. Got an HDMI card. I have a video eventually will come out of that one. HDMI card and an SD card to play some games. I got a joystick for it off of what the hell did I get it off of? AliExpress, and it doesn't work. I mean, it kind of works, but it doesn't work. It was designed for an Apple II, but it doesn't work. But the keyboard works now, so I got that fixed at least. We got Murphy. Hey, Glenn. Mitchie B's here. Hello, everyone. And JJ, remember the movie Maximum Overdrive? Yes, actually, I tell my friend. I should have put that bit in the video, but it wasn't. I paid for it. It wasn't a product placement. I wasn't gonna put that in there, but I did. A kid gets run over by the lawnmower. But in any case, let's kind of get into what I was going to talk about today. And I've been kind of sitting back and watching a little bit. This whole thing with Sony. I mean, we already went through it with Xbox, right? Xbox when the One was first announced, when you had to get it with their Connect. Xbox was like, yeah, it's going to be connected all the time. If it's not connected all the time, your game's not going to run. And the games are all going to be locked to the console. And people went up in arms, rightfully so. Not so much about the Connect, but about the games and not being able to share games and buying them and so forth. And Sony went out of their way, and a great way to give it to Xbox was to say, here's how you share a game on your PlayStation 5, here and here. And that was it. And now they're doing 180. And some people are like, well, they're changing with the market trends. And that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And what's more so, they want to make it no physical media. With now they're saving all this money on boxes and artwork and CD pressing, and they're raising prices on the games. So you're not even getting a physical copy of a game. It's going to be a digital download. And we've already seen it right now. It's right after they announced that taking away all these movies you guys paid for to have in your account. You got these movies put on there, and they get rid of them. And know what you can do about it? Nothing. So, I have a bunch of things. I'm kind of some of the things I was going to talk about this. But now my balls are twisted a little bit about it, because you know what? It's the gamer's fault, not this gamer, because this gamer stopped with the PlayStation 2 physical media. There's no game downloads. Unfortunately, I do have an original Switch. That's my son's, and a lot of games you buy, it has to do with some type of download and patching. I wasn't a fan of that. And I have the Xbox 360. Same deal. The game is there, but there's so many patches you got to download still to work. So, that is the gamer's fault, not the companies, because the companies can't do what you guys won't pay for. So when I see those people like, well, that's just the way it is, I'll buy the game, that's okay. That is the wrongest answer. And that's the whole problem now with our society today, is we're the people who really in control, but we constantly give up the control. Convenience? Perhaps, but it's wrong. When I go and I buy this game, here is a Vectrex Protector and Space Invaders for the Vectrex. I got Vectrex back here. I sent those two games. Just did a video on these two games. They're fun games. They're physical cartridges. I own them, whether they were gifted to me or I purchased it. I have it. If the internet goes down, if every server in the world goes down, you know what? I can still play those games. I can still play my Atari and television, those classic games. And someone tried to call me out when I posted that, as well as using AI for my photographs. Well, I'm sorry, I'm using AI for my photographs. The whole reason I can make my products so cheap is because I don't pay people to do stupid stuff that I can do or AI can do for me. And that's what AI is there for. But in any case, the comment says, Glenn, you're like the godfather of emulation. So what are you talking about? You download all your ROMs. And that is not wrong to say. However, you can still get the physical games for the Atari 2600 if you want the physical copy, or ColecoVision, or the Magnavox Odyssey, or the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, or the original Xbox, or the SNES, or the Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx. Yes, you could download the games, ROMs, and do it in emulation. Of course you can. You can play them in MiSTer. Of course you can. But you still could physically get the physical game if that's what you wanted. There's a choice. Microsoft, and I'm going to call it just really Microsoft, Nintendo, and PlayStation are taking away that choice. And I'm going to make another distinction here. Game consoles are fucking, people who are paying $1,000 or $700 or $800 for a game console, you're friggin' nuts. Game consoles were supposed to be the gateway drug, if you will, into gaming. families go to the store for $100 or $200, which still was a lot of money, and you get a console with a game. And you bought games for $100 or $200 for the console, and then the console eventually came down in price, and then you bought the games. If you're spending $1,000 for a game console that not only is not going to have physical media, why not just get a PC and Steam? And that's why I make my distinction. I have no problem with PCs and digital downloads. That's a computer. That computer is online. You want to use Steam? You want to get games that way? Great. But a game console, if you want to give an option of a digital download cheaper, which they're not, cheaper, but give the option of a physical game cartridge. I want to have, and not just a friggin' disc or a card with just enough information in it to download the content. I want the content here. I want it to a point where the company can't just say one day, oh, we're changing the licensing agreement. We're taking it away from your store. We thank you for your money. We're not going to refund your money. We're going to keep your money. We're going to take the game. We're going to take the movie. We're going to take the songs away from you guys. And that's what drives me nuts. And people go, oh, well, that's just how it is. It's that way because you're allowing it to be that way. You don't pay them the money. You don't give Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo your money, and no one gives them the money. I bet you in fucking 2 seconds, those companies will go, oh, you know what? We decided we're going to make the physical media again. So the problem is the gamers. The problem is the people who simply won't stand up and make an argument with these companies saying, you're wrong. Or if you are going to do that, that game should be 70% cheaper, not $100 for a game. That game should now be $30 if it's a simple digital download, no instruction manual, no box, no media. And CDs, first of all, CDs are pennies to press over a ROM cartridge, which, the old consoles used. So that's the other thing, too. Hobby Hands saying, basically, you're renting a game, but you're not renting it forever, Hobby Hands. You're renting the game for as long as the company store allows you to have it. We've seen it before. We've seen plenty of World of Warcraft, games like that. They shut down the servers. Now, yes, there are people who go out there and make servers and they bring them back to life, but they shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to go into your closet, pull out your PlayStation 7 or 8, plug a game in, and the friggin' thing should work. That's it. Now, I get the younger generation, cell phones, you download it easily, but those games are $1 or $2, maybe $3. All right, if you want to blow $1 or $2, $3, that's fine. $90 for a game you don't physically own? $90 for a game that has to have a download that takes an hour when you first get it. It's broken. Look at Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk game. That game's so damn broken for a while, and people spent money on that, and wait for them to fix that. That is the problem that we, the gamers, and it's a multi-billion-dollar thing we're talking about here. It's not like when Atari was the first billion-dollar company, the fastest-growing company back in '77. When it was a physical cartridge, you owned the game, you went home, you turned on your TV set, channel 3, and you put a game cartridge in, you played it. It was yours. It was yours. They couldn't take it away. You owned it. Now these companies, if you actually look, even when you buy these machines, they're not yours. They're giving you a license. You spend $1,000 for a PlayStation 5. It's a license for you to use it. Technically, they can brick it on you. They can brick it. And Nintendo was bricking consoles. If you guys, everyone's got such a short memory. Nintendo was bricking Switches. Now, they were bricking it because, yes, people were pirating new games. I get it. But bricking consoles is not the answer to brick a $300 or $400 game console. That is, the two wrongs don't make a right. And you still have a company making hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion on us. I think you can lose a game or two. And you may say, Glenn, that's the wrong thing to say, but I'm sorry. These companies make money hand over fist. They do. And they're telling you in this day and age, the games are not yours, but you're still going to spend $100 on a game. But it's up to all of you out there. I have no say in it because I will not buy a game console that does that. PS2, as far as I go. Switch was for my son when he was a kid. I saw it's the original Switch. Remember that came out? That's where I got that from. And an Xbox 360, I did want to play Halo, and I did enjoy it. And Gears of War, I enjoyed it. But I didn't go past that. I didn't go past that because internet goes down. your drive fails inside, you got to re-download stuff. The game's not going to work right. I want, when I buy stuff, you own it. Now people say, Glenn, again, you got your Viper, you use RetroPie, you download these ROMs 100%. Now I can get the game cartridge, or I can download the ROM for classic console. I totally admit that, but at least I have the option to do one or the other. And when I download the ROM and I have the ROM, whether I got it in a nice way or not, guess what? I have the ROM. It's here physically. I have it. It's not on someone's server that they go, and then you lost access to it. So Biggie D's talking about the Neo Geo AES. Yeah, that is a console that deserves support. I'm going to wait till it goes on sale though, but it deserves support, and people are buying it. Also, I have to say the Evercade, and they made a joke at PlayStation, didn't they? How do you share an Evercade cartridge? Yeah. So they gave the finger to Microsoft, they gave the finger to Sony and Nintendo, and those are companies that should get support. Now, granted, they may not have the newest games, the highest quality graphics and sound. True, but if you're going to spend $700, $800, $900, $1,000 for an Xbox, a Nintendo Switch is what, $600, $700 now? Are you friggin' nuts? Buy a PC, buy a laptop, use Steam in that case. Support indie developers, support Steam, get your games there. Don't support these companies like Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft that are holding you at ransom. You're going to give them your money, and one day they're going to turn off these machines, say, I'm sorry, we lost the license to whatever game, so we're pulling it from your store. Have a nice day. Bullshit. Baloney. That's right, WR712F Sony. Because, again, you have to spread the word. It's up to us to basically talk with our wallets. That's how any company is going to listen with their wallets. If you do not buy a product, there's one of two things that happens. Either it was a bad product, in which case they'll discontinue the product. But if they know it's an awesome product, but they realize they tried to F you over, and the community goes, you know what? We're not that dumb. I'm not going to support a PlayStation 5 that's digital only, or an Xbox that's digital only. I want the physical cartridge. I want this. But it's got to go beyond just putting a DVD drive in there, because Nintendo and the Switch is selling you games that's basically just a key. That is just as bad. The game code has to be on a DVD, a Blu-ray, a CD, a ROM, complete. I am sick of having to download patches. I am sick of having to spend an hour or two getting all these different things to get your game to work that you bought day one. They shouldn't be releasing a game that's not finished. Period. And again, we're the ones allowing it. We're going out and still buying the game and going, oh, the game's broken. Oh, this is broken. And waiting 6 months until they finally fix it. And you know what? You don't care about the game anymore in 6 months. You want them to play it at that point. You need a drink. So I guess this can go down in the history books as another one of Glenn's rants. But you got to realize, when I'm ranting like this, I'm not ranting for me. I don't buy those consoles at all. I'm ranting for you guys. I'm trying to preach to you guys. You have the power. Like He-Man. Oh, I've got the power. You have the power. If you do not buy the product, if you do not support the product, they have to change. Right now, they don't have to change, because so many people go, that's just how it is. That's how it is because the company wants you to think that. They want you to do that because they're going to not only make $90 on the game, but they're making that more than that $90. No box, no cartridge, no disc, no artwork, no shipping it to anyone. Downloading the stuff is free. They're making not only the money on the game, but they're making the money without reducing the cost to you and pocketing even more money. Think about that. Kevin calls the super chat. Send your address. I'll mail your physical super chat. But that's really what it is. That's really what it is. Now, people may say that I'm a shill. I'm not shilling anything. I'm just saying that as a society, we're perhaps taking convenience too far. Was it that bad driving to the mall or driving to Babbage's Electronics Boutique, Sears, JCPenney, all these companies? Toys R Us. Did it really take that much to drive down there, pick up the game cartridge, read both sides, walk up holding that thing? Couldn't you wait to get home to rip off the cellophane and rip off the little tag on the top and open that thing and pull out the cartridge, go to your machine or your disc, and put it in the machine? That was half of the experience to me. Looking at the cartridge, looking at the label, going, look at this, and going to your friend's house and taking a bag and putting all your games in your bag and running over to his house and putting your games in. All his friends were over, and he didn't have that game, like Space Invaders and Asteroids or whatever. But bringing your system over to his house and playing those games. I get online gaming; it's different, but again, that's not me. I don't play online games. I don't do those type of things. I play Fortnite like once or twice with Cole, and I was a scared little bitch in the corner the whole time. But the point is, and Kev Gritz here, hey buddy, I bought Horizon 6 for Xbox, put in the disc, and had to wait 2 hours for it to download. See, that's I can't. I refuse. I absolutely refuse to support that. Now, again, no problem with game downloads. Just go with a PC or a Mac, Steam. Like even the Steam box. Why the hell are you going to buy a freaking Steam box for $1,000? Why? Just use your PC and play Steam on it. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. But people seem to be flocking it. And I watch all these other YouTubers, a lot of my friends. I'm watching all these things. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Why are you so happy about this? Why do you care about this PlayStation game, Xbox game that you're not even going to own? You're going to spend $100 on it. You're going to play it. It's download one day. It's just going to go away. Just going to go away. It just drives me literally nuts. Let me try to look at some of the chat here. I've been ranting so long. I'm not looking here in the chat. Let's see what we got over here. Biggie D, the games have gotten too big for the disc. Well, that's yes and no. Yes and no. So you could do Blu-ray. You can get 50 gigabytes on a Blu-ray. Maybe you need 1 or 2. But you know what? They also code like crap. They code like crap. So that's the next thing. If I'm going to rant on now, the games are so big because they code like crap. They do not code lean. They don't code clean. Those games do not. They do not have to be half a terabyte or however freaking big the games are. They don't. They don't use compression. They don't code properly. They write sloppy code. And that's why they're so big. And, again, people talk about, the next game. I play games that are friggin' wild in advance. And I'm going to get on this one because I do like my VR on my Meta Quest 2. And that's digital only download. And I get that. I love those games. And I worry every day when Facebook shuts down the servers, I lose Vader Immortal, or I lose Iron Man, or I lose any one of the games on there. But again, those I didn't pay a lot. $8, $5. Now it's a lot easier to swallow losing Vader Immortal for $5 and Iron Man for $6 than losing maybe $200 on a couple of games on PlayStation and Xbox, and they shut the server down. It's a better pill for me to swallow being $5 to $10 versus $200. And I guarantee eventually, all games generally get put somewhere you can get to them. And I get that. But the problem is the fact that Sony had the balls after they rubbed their Microsoft's nose in their ass when Microsoft announced it with how do you share a game, and they've got the balls to do the exact same thing. And like a day or two after they announced they were taking away movies from everybody that you paid for in the store. Sorry, we're taking it away. When you bought them, the license agreements say, okay, we can't sell anymore, but those are purchased. Those were yours. You bought them from us. They're yours. What freaking balls do they have to take that away? To me, that's theft. If you didn't rent it, if you bought that movie or you bought that game and they simply say it's not available anymore, too bad, that's theft. They should be refunding you guys the money. Period. Uh-oh. Meatball Saucy, I'm a verified unhappy FU future customer. Your insanity claims from the other companies. Where are you at GRS Deliver? Your company. Okay, so I guess I'll talk about the FU right now. So there is good news with the FU. And again, a lot of things are out of my control. You guys are well aware of things with shipping and tariffs and memory. However, the first FU, serial number 1, which is one of the reasons I was doing the show tonight, serial number 1 is finally being ready for shipment to come to me. So hopefully next week or 2 or a month, I'm not sure how long it'll take to come across on the boat, slow boat from China, because that's where it's coming from, slow boat from China. It's on its way. So once I get it, and I give this, will be good for production. But if I do this or this, if either one of these happens, if that's there, it's going to be delayed. Because if it's something that's not right, we got to fix it for you. I don't want anything going out to you guys until I know it's right. Now, here's the next thing. The FU's Kickstarter was just 1 year, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So we're not that far off. We're a little bit behind where we wanted to be as far as shipping, but there was so many things out of our control. I think we've done a really good job in rodeoing in the tariffs, the tariff costs, how to ship them out. Then the whole thing with the chip shortages and then memory shortages and all that stuff. Then of course the Viper Venom, and then I added more stuff to the FU. We added the screen rotation and pedals, all these other things. Between all that, we really only passed 1 year by a few weeks from when the Kickstarter started, not ended, started. It was in June 20th, 26th, I think it was. So think about that for a second. Some of these Kickstarters go years before you see it. Now, of course, would I have liked to have had it in your hands sooner? Absolutely. Without the tariff and chip shortages, would have been much sooner, maybe a little bit. But I added the screen, the 26-inch screen. Then I added the screen 45 to 90. Then we're trying to add the gas brake pedals at no charge in there. Some stuff we're changing with the decks, and then we had to change the GRS Viper Venom to the Orange Pie Viper Venom. So I think with all those things in there, and if we start shipping in the next 6 months or less, I think we nailed it better than 90% of what happens on Kickstarter. And I got taken a couple times to Kickstarter. I have this robot lawnmower now, but I backed a robot lawnmower for $1,200, and I got effed on that one. Never got it. So I guarantee you guys are going to get it. That's for sure. And most of you guys, if not everyone, gets a 1/6 scale Build-A-Cade on top of that. But the good news was, like I said, is that they're boxing up the serial number 00001 to get to me. When it arrives, I will be reaching out to Bill from Bill's Retro Gaming Show and Glenn Baisley, to name a few, to come over, and they can literally go into the room, and I'm going to walk out of the room, and they can do whatever they want to do in there, and then can ask me questions and ask questions and post their videos. I want nothing to sway them at all. But if anyone else is local to me or local enough and wants to come to take a look at it, we can probably set something up along those lines. But it's finally coming. It's finally coming. And let me tell you something. It was a huge, huge undertaking. You don't realize in your head things are not. I mean, the 1/6 scale Build-A-Cade was a big project, but we did it. No, it was not big a deal. This has taken a whole different scope and logistics and size, and working with Joe Sabos and Escape Pod. They're working on artwork, for it. Working with the arcade team. I'm still trying to add some features. A lot more features will come out in the future in software updates. I want to work with indie developers. So yes, you can load your own stuff on there, but also I want indie developers to be able to load stuff on there as well and make sure it's secure, in there. So again, I'm going to be supporting. Yes, I'm going to be supporting digital download of games, but the games will be downloaded to your machine. It's yours. We're not going to take it away from you. It's on there. And that's one good thing I'll say about iArcade, is, even though they're gone, as long as you downloaded your stuff before you shut the service down and you have the space in the machine, I think everyone pretty much did, you were fine. And then you had people come around that allowed you to back up your software on there. And of course, then I came out with my thing. So if you did lose everything, you still had something else to do. And that's another thing I want to say here is, I've been doing this now over 8 years. Products for over 8 years. I don't think anyone out there, and yeah, am I scratching myself here with this one? I am. I don't think anyone that's a higher quality or word of mouth with the best stuff for the best price than I do. And it's not easy doing that. It's not. The FU, like I said, we're making nothing on it, but we're hoping that after people get it and people start talking about it, more orders will come from that. Of course, I'm still working with, you know, Polycade. I'm working with American Gear Company. I'm working with X Arcade. There's a lot of companies. I had three more from around the world. Three more builders reach out to us that they want to use our products in there, and that's because low price, high quality, and our stuff works. It works, and we listen. So, am I tooting my own horn? I am. My team, we have a really, really good team, and I beat them down because I make sure we have the good stuff and the quality. And that's not gonna be no different with the FU, and that's why it drives me friggin' nuts when I see these companies, billion-dollar companies, and they're got hundreds of $1 millions of shares, and they're stealing from you guys. And they're like, yeah, and they're not gonna know. We're gonna make it all digital, and too bad. How could you be a game collector if you can't collect games? How can you be a game collector if you can't collect the games? Now, I'm a hardware guy. I am. I collect more. As you can see, I have two Vectrexes behind me over here. I do like collecting the hardware more. So you would think I'm fine with the digital downloads, but I still like having my favorite games. I want a physical copy. If it's games I just want to try and see how it is, those I'll put on a flash cartridge. But the games I really love, I want to have the copy. I want to know I own it. I know that when I die, clothes will throw it out in the front yard. I get that. But that's a different story. It makes no sense to me at all to buy an Xbox, a PlayStation 2, or even a Switch if it's a digital download. Just use Steam. Get a PC. You'll get a better performing machine anyway. You could do more with it, and then use Steam, and you get it that way. And Steam sales. Steam gives you sales. I see Steam sales all the time. That's why I grab stuff on that. I got Donut Dodo for like $1. That's where I get them from. Now, I'm not saying Nintendo, Xbox, or Sony do, but I guarantee you it's not going to be that cheap. I guarantee that. Quality wins. Thank you, and I appreciate that. And that's what I think gets me more than anything is when I see other YouTubers. I'm not calling anyone out here. So if you feel like I'm talking to you out, then you must be doing it. But I'm not calling anyone out here. When I see them all hyping all these things, and they're either junk or they're not that good, but they got it for free. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Now, have I gotten stuff free? Absolutely. But I've always been honest about it. Even when I got the arcade one-ups, there were toys. I never said they were toys. I never claimed to be more. And of course, if I didn't think they were not that good, I would never have made controllers to replace the ones that were bad on it. But New Wave Toys always made good stuff. I have not had any problem with any of their stuff. And if there was a problem, I had the Facebook group. People reach out to me a lot of times. I would have gone, poor Shiloh's not here anymore, talk to him. They always made it right. They always made it right. And that was the key thing there when companies make it right. Now, I don't know much about a lot of these other companies out there. Obviously, at Games, I've had a very good experience with them, but they kind of lost their way. When they first came out, like the Ultimate, which I still have my 1.0 Ultimate, they had a bunch of games on there. You could download games. You could run your own games. Then it became you have to log in, and if you didn't log in, you would lose it. And now they're a mess. They're a mess. So at Games was one of those stories that went from rags to riches. Not quite rags yet. They're definitely on the downfall again because they are just literally tripping over themselves. They owned everything. They were doing great. I could not remember a few years ago that they went from the shittiest plug and play consoles that were garbage. At Games was next to junk. When you said at Games, it was junk, and then it became the Ultimate came out, and all their other consoles came out, and the pinballs came out, and at Games went like Hyundai. They went from the junk brand to a pretty freaking good brand like Genesis. It's like a pretty good brand. They owned it. They tripped over themselves. Now they're falling down because they're screwing over the community. They're locking the system down again. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. Biggie D at Games going to go bankrupt, and they may, and they did it to themselves. They owned the pinball. They owned the arcade thing for a time there. It's still a good machine. Although all the T-molding came off it, but outside of that, great machine. But nowadays, at games, there's nothing out there I would see that I would personally purchase. I have all their flashbacks. I have their handhelds. I collected all that stuff. There's nothing on there I would get at this point anymore. Bill's Retro Gaming Show. I'm Glenn. Really excited to finally get my New Wave Toys Golden T Replicate full size control panel. Well, you got to let me know. I have no idea if I'll even get anything from New Wave Toys. I haven't spoken to New Wave Toys since the whole thing when they didn't come on the show. Well, I didn't have them on the show because there's no point to have them on the show. They were on Michael B's show. There was no reason to have them had the same exact conversation a month later on my show if they promised to come on my show to talk about that. And I haven't talked to anyone from New Wave Toys since. So I don't know if I even have a work relationship with them at all anymore. But that's another reason why, like I said, I haven't done my show a lot because I'm just going to focus on my stuff and people actually purchase my products like Polycade and XRcade and American Gear Company and those other companies. So that's where I got to focus. My biggest problem is I try to help everyone, and that's my fault. And I think I'm finally to the point where I'm tired of being used by people when I help everyone else out. They use it and they throw me aside and give stuff to other people. I think I'm like done with that. Is that going to make a better Glenn or a worse Glenn? I don't know. It's definitely got a jaded Glenn for sure. I've learned a lot about people, and that was probably my biggest growing thing is that I'm too trusting, way too trusting. You know, I am because I always want to help. I work in a hospital to help people. I am who I am because I like to help people. I'm a people person. I've had people come say to me, I'll never forget what one person said to me, "You always got to be the good guy. You always got to make people think you're the good guy." I don't need to make people think anything. I am a good person. I always try. I'll take a shirt off my back. I help people, but that doesn't mean that when I do those things, I don't expect some type of common courtesy back. Do I? Maybe that's the right way of saying it. It's not a tit for tat type of thing. But if you're constantly screwing me over, I'm just going to be, you know what? I'm done with it. That's called being an adult. It's not being a doormat 24/7, and that's one of the things I've had to learn. I don't know what time it is. We still got some time left. Let me take a look here in the chat once again. B Kirby, the Chicago Arcade guy. How you doing? Hudson, 22441. People will generally disappoint. Always have a plan B, which is true. Upkiss. I've got skills. Damn it. Yeah. The one thing I will say is here, the more I look at the YouTube community, and a lot of people are in it for themselves. And is there anything wrong with that? No. I mean, they're in it to make money. They're in it to grow their channel. And I was trying to do the same thing. I think I've given up on all of that. I have, but I never didn't help people. I never didn't offer help them or opinions or meet them at shows or anything like that. That was me. That was me. I've met those people who act that way here, and they're like, hey, and then they're gone. So obviously it was a bunch of bull crap. And even on this channel here, have I made enemies? I'm sure I have. Intentional? Not from my side, because I know who I am. I know what I do, and I know how many people I've helped and stuff for them with companies. But it comes a point in time where you got to be a man. I'm going to be, like, I just turned 57. I'm 57, so I'm going towards a big 60. And I think I've done a fuck ton to help the community, to help gamers. And to be honest, aside from you guys here and a few select other few people, I think I've been shunned by everyone else because you know why? They don't want help. They want to live in their little bubbles and focus on their channel and money, and that's what they care about. I've never cared about that. I've turned down $10,000 from Arcade One Up as like a hush money for my Tron joystick. I said I don't want the $10,000. I want to help you guys make a better product. And they basically told me, wasn't this finger though. No, they don't want the help, but you know what? $10,000, we'll keep it. I said fine. I didn't want the money. I could have taken $10,000 from Scott Baccarat. I didn't take it. I offered to help them. They didn't want the help. In fact, not only did they not want the help, they stole another product and then started locking out my stuff. So that's okay. JJ, Glens Retro Show. Did a certain content creator north of the border ever provide an apology? So if we want to talk about Michael B, listen, Michael B sent me a ton of messages. I talked. He sent me a message the other day. I did talk to him. Whether he knew or not, to me, doesn't matter because New Wave Toys knew. When I talked to them, actually, when I was still talking to Shiloh, and Shiloh was still alive, the whole point when they came back out of their long hiatus, because they were gone, for a long time, he was stuck in Canada. The whole point, they were going to come on this show to talk about the roadmap coming back. That's all we talked about. I talked to Shiloh literally 2 days before he passed away. We had the same conversation. This show. After he passed away, I found out through them. I was told not to say anything, and people tell me things all the time. And I say I'm not going to say anything, but I think at this point it's okay. When I found out Charlotte died, I was told not to say anything, and I respected them for that. I didn't say anything because they needed to get their ducks in a row. But the conversation still was, when they're ready to talk, they want to come on my show first. That was the conversation. And then when they finally were ready, I said, great, listen, we can have you on today, tomorrow. So we can't come out for about a month. We're going to shows, we're doing things. We can't be on the show. I'm like, okay, listen, but if you want, I could do weekends, Saturdays, whenever you guys want to come on, I'll move the show to have you guys on here first, which I've been talking about for a long time. And then I was told, we're going to have your show, Glenn, we're ready. Here's the date. We're going to talk about the roadmap. And then I posted it, and then Michael B had him on their show. Now, whether Michael B knew about that, I said, I'm not holding it against him. But New Wave Toys knew. And they still went on Michael B's show with that thing. And I was told two different stories. Michael B had his story, which he might believe is true. I'm not saying it is or isn't. But Michael B reached out plenty of times to apologize, and that's fine. I talked to Michael B. He sent me a message the other day, and I responded to him. That's not the point. And that's what I'm getting at about these companies. I created the largest New Wave Toys fan base. I worked with them, got them a product at pennies on the dollar to make that trackable for them. I've worked with people with broken products. And after all that, and Charlotte passes away, after all the things I did, didn't even come on my show after they promised they want a Michael B show. That was the problem. Not necessarily Michael B. That's the problem. And I'm tired of being burned and lied to by companies saying they're going to do something and they do something entirely. Do I have the biggest channel? I do not. I do not have the biggest channel. But I am someone who's helped these people, and I'm tired of being pooped on. And I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not. It is what it is. I have not heard from New Wave Toys, not one bit since that day. I reached out to them. I said, are you guys going on Michael B show? They said, yep. I said, well, there's no point in having it on my show. Your conversation with Michael B is the exact thing that I have on my show after a month later. What's the point? I heard nothing from them since. So that was with Eduardo. So I don't know if I have a business relationship with them at all, but you know what? There's plenty of other business relationships out there. I'm tired of being the guy who protects the companies and gets screwed over on the backside. And now this is when I get my rants going on over here. So that's it. Basically, stop buying these consoles. They're going to take away digital media, so you guys won't have the media. They're screwing you guys. They're not giving you a price break. That's that. And FU, the FU should be, as soon as I get a tracking number, I'll make sure I post, listen, it's being shipped. But they're preparing the shipment now. So they got to get everything well packed and get it over here. They got to document everything. And of course, now with how tariff is and the ports, we got to see how well it even comes over here. Am I going to get hit with a huge bill when it comes in? We got to work all these things out. So this first one is going to be a good thing here. What's that chat here, Kirby? Glenn, just keep doing what you're doing. The FU is going to be great, and I'm glad I backed it. I don't waste time with people. Well, that's the thing. I don't hate anyone. I don't. It doesn't mean, I need to constantly be not blind, but just act like everything's fine. I think I'm done. I've built up enough stress with everything. I'm tired of being fine with people who pretend to be your friend, and maybe they are, but they're friends. They're fair weather friends, and they're true friends. I definitely know the difference now. It's taken a while, but it hurts a little bit because I always want to help. I do. I want to help, and I want to do things, and I want to be able to support other people. But I'm just tired of doing what I'm doing and getting nothing back. Because again, I'm not getting rich on any of this stuff. I'm doing it for the community and for you guys. And that's what I'm talking about here with the Xbox, PlayStation. I'm doing it for you guys. I will never buy those consoles. But you guys shouldn't be taken advantage of. These big companies saying there's nothing you can do about it. Bullshit. Don't buy it. Look at Supergirl. I had no intention of seeing that movie. She totally, when I saw her bitch at the end of Superman, Like I'm not watching Supergirl. And what happened? It bombed. It bombed, and that hurt Warner and DC. And they're going to learn. James Gunn's going to learn. You know what? Maybe stop making woke movies. Maybe stop making movies so woke. Maybe actually make the movies the way we expect them to, and maybe you guys will make some money. The original Iron Man was fantastic. Robert Downey Jr. did Tony Stark like perfect. Same with Captain America. Those movies were fantastic. I watched them 100,000 times. Since Endgame, there's been not one thing I'm going to watch. The new Spider-Man, maybe. Spider-Man's been doing pretty good. But everything else from them is trash. And I'm not going to support, I'm not going to be silent about it. I'm sick and tired of having to be, okay, you can't say that. You can't talk that way. Yes, I can. Last time I checked, I'm in America. I have free speech. I'm not doing hate speech. It's my opinion. And that is my opinion. Stop taking properties, Star Wars, Superman, Superwoman, all these movies, Aquaman. Stop woking them up. Actually make them the way they were. And I guarantee you'll make money. You guys losing your money is your own fault, and that's us showing the movie industry. You know what? You made a shitty movie. Not gonna go see it. Not gonna see it. Now look at He-Man. He-Man, to me, was okay. It wasn't great, and it was a very soft He-Man, but I think it deserved better than it did. It wasn't horrible. Like I watched it. Was it really He-Man to me? No. It made the 1987 He-Man to me actually better, if that makes any. Dolph Lundgren's movie actually looked better, which is saying a lot. But it is what it is. So I will say that the 720 controller, I think it's pretty much done. I'll add that. So my next argument with my team, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because why the hell not? I want the next 2 decks, and it won't be in time for the release, but I want the next 2 decks. One to be the 720 deck for the FU, and I don't want the 720 controller released to anyone before that. I want the FU to get the 720 controller first. If you back the FU, you have an option of buying a 720 controller first. And I also want the Lunar Lander throttle deck. And again, the FU people, I want that at least for that first, and then it can become to everyone else out there. But I think that's it. I think I've said enough for today. But as far as like Michael B, I have nothing against Michael B at all because again, I don't know what he knew. He told me what he was told, or at least he told me what he was told. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But he told me what he was told. So from his standpoint, he did nothing wrong. And if that's true, that's true. But New Wave Toys sure knew. New Wave Toys absolutely knew. And the fact I haven't heard anything from Eduardo, anyone from New Wave Toys since that day says a lot to me. After all I did for them. So on that note, I'm going to leave it at that. I think I've ranted, raved enough. I'm going to go run my lawnmower again in the middle of the night and cut the lawn again because it's so freaking fun. But listen, a couple days ago, July 7th, which is just 3 days ago, was the 17th anniversary of my wife passing of non-small cell lung cancer. It's been 17 years. Fortunately, I have someone in my life now that is putting up with me, and she's good, and she's hopefully enjoying herself tonight and allowing me to do these shows on Friday nights. But it's not easy. 17 years is a long time, and she's a good one. So I appreciate that. But the point I was trying to make is that tomorrow's never promised. My wife was only 39 when she had passed away, and my son he literally just turned 4 by like a month, and I turned 40 by a month as well. My son and I are both in May. So the point I was trying to make is even the rent I'm talking about tonight is nothing compared to your kids, your wife, your spouse, parents, your brothers and sisters, cousins, pets. That's what really matters. So what I'm talking about tonight means absolutely nothing in comparison to them. Just listen to me for anything tonight. Don't listen to anything else said tonight, except make sure you tell your family and friends that you love them. Tomorrow's never promised. That's all that really matters is your family. I'm going to tell that to Cole after I go upstairs right now after I tell him to clean his goddamn room. But, still going to tell him I love him. And never forget that because this stuff is not going to matter at all. What matters is your family, your friends, and you guys out there, my friends out in the community. So with that being said, I'll leave you with, if I can find it where it is. Where the hell is it? My God. I don't know where it even is. Ah, there it is. I'm going to leave you with that. So listen, have a great weekend, everyone. Hopefully, I'll have the FU shipping information any day now, and we'll know when the FU is going to arrive here in the States, and we'll finally have our hands physically on the machine to look at. But in between those times, game on.